Yo, thank you guys all for being here. It's a pleasure to have you. It's a pleasure to be teaming with Crypto Headz. This is our third or fourth event that we've been here for, so we come to all the ones that they put on. Last time we were here, Red Pill Rick gave a great presentation on the state of the market. We're here to talk a little bit about how Cardano kind of sets itself apart from what's been going on. If you've been paying attention to what's happening in the ecosystem, Cardano's been resistant. It's doing its own thing. It works a little bit differently than the other chains, and so often that gets fudded. That means negative attention gets thrown at it. But we've been showing it love ever since, we started the stake pool about a year ago, so that's kind of why we're here. So just real quick, DRMZ is the name of the stake pool. A lot of you delegated to it to receive the NFTs we were talking about. This is the name of our SPO. Drew will be presenting with me. And this is the team in a nutshell. So we use PFPs to let you know that we are big fans of NFTs ourselves. So these are some of our favorite NFTs. If you see any of these that you like, we'll let you know which ones they are. You can check them out in the market a little bit later. My name is Rod G. It's Rodrigo, but I go by Rod. Reiner is right over there. If you raise your hand. Chili is at the table right over there, setting everybody up. My cousin is not here just yet, but he's on the team. Genki is a partner who's out in Houston, so we're kind of set up across the US. Carlos and Aaron are artists on the team. Carlos is actually, where'd you go, Carlos? He was over there with Chili. There he is, right over there. Mag is over here on cameras. And we got Big D right over here in front of us. So we operate DRMZ SPO. It's a stake pool. So we're going to go into a little bit of what that means, how they work. Aside from that, what we do is host IRL meetups as well. That's kind of how we partnered with Crypto Headz, doing our own events at small bars. We build local partnerships with Hopnonymous, Ataraxia Brewing, and Belching Beaver. You got a little 10% discount coupon. Most of you probably have that on your person already. So if you attend any of these locations for the next week, you get that discount. They're ongoing partnerships. So there'll be, I think there's one that's a 20% or so. One of you is going to be lucky and get that one. We also host Twitter Spaces as the Cardano Ministry. So we do those spaces every Sunday at 8 p.m. They are not really crypto spaces. They're more philosophy spaces. So in my day job, in my day-to-day, I'm a teacher. I work at Miramar College and I teach English. And we use that as our philosophy space, but then we onboard into the Web3 ecosystem. We also do immersive web spaces. I saw some of you going into the world on your mobile phones. There's QR codes. There's actually some VR worlds set up right over there. After we're done with our presentation, you can go and check those out. We build them for anybody who needs them built. And they're really fun to go into. They're immersive. You can walk around, check out partnerships that we have, etc. These are the two that we have for our pool and for an NFT project called the Dead Rabbit Society, which I have a pin for here. And if you know who they are, there's an NFT giveaway today, but it's kind of a secret. They like to do things in that sort of fashion. So you kind of have to know already, but we'll give you the details. The Crypto Headz band logo is right over here. This is Pets R Us. This is Go Tribe. These are just kind of local builders. Crypto Threads has his merch set up right over here. Local partner, again, that we like to work with, does merch. He actually made these shirts that we're wearing now. Carlos made the logos. Crypto Threads made the shirts. So this is kind of what we do in a nutshell. And before we dive into the presentation in itself, we want to say thank you for being here because we've been a stake pool for 1 year. And yeah, thank you. So, you stake, we decentralize. This is all about decentralization. We know that that's what Web3 and crypto is really all about. Decentralized spaces are the best spaces to be a part of. We minted 12 blocks in 2022. We'll explain kind of what that means and how that works. You'll learn a little bit about staking. Some of you are now staked to our pool. And we actually got our first block in 2023 already. So those of you who delegate to the pool will be earning rewards as we continue, right? Terry is already delegating to our pool. You've got your first set of rewards. So great partnership already. So thank you for being here and celebrating with us. And I like to use this quote to get us started in the conversation. So let's read it together for a minute. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. It's a beautiful quote. It just kind of speaks to the values of the ecosystem. There's a lot of novel technology that's emerging, a lot of information you really need to be aware of in the space, a lot of misinformation, and FUD is what it's called when you throw negative attention at something. So we're here to clear up questions that you have about Cardano. We're here to tell you about, again, the stake pool in itself, any questions you have about NFTs. Drew will be covering the NFT aspect and the specific wallet questions that you have. UTXO model versus the accounts model is a big one. The way that staking is different on Cardano. So let's get into it. So what is Cardano? It's a third generation public blockchain. This is again the logo that we're wearing here. Shout out to Carlos one more time. Why do we like Cardano? Because it's decentralized, open source, secure, scalable, and interoperable. So those are the values that it sits behind. The techno-moral values that we like to champion in this particular space. The company in itself was built by Emergo, Input Output, and the Cardano Foundation are the people who created Cardano. Now, Cardano's evolution has been, let's say, slow. It goes at a turtle's pace, right? A lot of people say it's too slow even, but slow and steady wins the race. We know that too. So we know that Cardano is going to succeed long-term. We believe in it to that extent. And each iteration of Cardano as it's evolved brought something different to the chain. So the foundation was the beginning point. Decentralization was expanded with Shelley. Gauguin introduced smart contracts. Basho is introducing scaling. And we are in the age of Voltaire, according to the founder, Charles Hoskinson, who set up a great video. If you haven't checked it out, that's one you got to check out on YouTube, The Age of Voltaire. Now, Cardano has an ethos of openness and transparency, which is a lot of the reasons that we like it too. Everything is open source. So if you are a developer, if you are a coder, if you have questions about it, you can go and fact check mostly everything that's there. Drew will talk more about the technical side when he is up here giving his side of the presentation. Now, more reasons that we like Cardano. These are a few facts, and if you have any questions about any of them, please stop me at any point. It is research-driven, so it's open source, research-driven. There's 169 peer-reviewed papers that are accessible to anyone. You can go and check them out. It's part of the reason we like it is if you have any questions about the ecosystem, you can go right to the source, to the white papers themselves, and look up the information and fact-check whatever you need to fact-check. It's also provably secure, which is a big thing to claim, but the way that it works is interesting. Ouroboros is the protocol. It's this snake that eats its own tail right on my shirt here. We'll talk a little bit about what that means in a moment. It's eco-friendly, 10,000 times more energy efficient than Bitcoin. Not to compare it to Bitcoin in a negative sense. We always bow to the king. We know Bitcoin moves the markets. We know Bitcoin is the one that's leading the charge. But Cardano is built similarly to Bitcoin. It extends the model that it created in an interesting way. It is decentralized. There's over 3,188 stake pools. Ours is one of them that supports the network. So that just lets you know how decentralized it is. There's other protocols that have hundreds, dozens of validators. This one's got over 3,000. So you can, compare yourself. Also, 74% of the ADA that's out there right now is currently staked. And that's because of one of the mechanisms of Cardano, which is liquid staking, but we'll talk about that in a minute as well. We like it because it was fairly distributed. This is a chart you may have seen online. It just tells you when the ICO happened, the initial coin distribution, where the coins went to. So in the blue, it's a little bit blurry here, it's the public sale. So most of it went to public hands. That means it's not very high on the radar of a lot of VCs because there's more public distribution, more fair distribution. There's not as many gains that you can make across the board. It's built for the long term. The smart contracts work differently. So Drew will cover the EUTXO model versus the accounts model and how it relates to TPS. Native assets on Cardano are also very different. So a lot of you are actually now holding some NFTs on Cardano. And they exist. They are very different on chain. They're not smart contract based. Again, Drew will cover that part. And there is a community seed fund that we like as well. We were asking around why people choose different chains, and some of them have funding mechanisms. Cardano has one of those as well. It's called Project Catalyst. You can submit a proposal. You can kind of run it through the community, get it approved, and get funding for projects that you have that you want to build that are on chain. So these are some of the reasons we like it. This is just a basic breakdown, maybe a few days old now, but the delegation is consistent. Again, a lot of the ADA is currently staked, which is important. Now, again, last time that we were here, Rick was talking a little bit about the state of the market. And as we know, we are in a bear market. Things have started to look up a little bit in the last week. Got a nice little pump, a few little pumps. And if you notice, we're on the way back down very soon right now. Despite that, we've got Cardano becoming the third largest NFT protocol by trading volume, despite that, in a bear market. We've got Cardano becoming the fourth biggest by 24-hour volume. Again, the NFT sales are booming on Cardano. On-chain stats also show these the growth of the chain, right? So more wallets. Again, a lot of you are now contributing to this metric because you've set up wallets and received NFTs. The delegation is going to increase over time. We've got Plutus scripts being developed. Plutus is the language that Cardano uses for its smart contracts. Again, more on the tech side, not the part that I'm super comfortable with. I'm more in the presenting the general idea of Cardano and telling you the basic stuff. Drew will cover more of the technical stuff. Let's continue here. This is a part of the ecosystem, not at all exhaustive for what's being built on Cardano, but you get a pretty good idea of what is available there. So we have marketplaces. We have ADA handles, or the equivalent of Ethereum virtual machines. I believe it's called ENS, right? Where you have a name that you set up. You can send things directly to a wallet address like raw.eth or raw.cardano instead of the long address that you get when you set up a crypto wallet. There's token distribution through drip drops. There's decentralized identity. There's oracles. There's NFT trading that's decentralized. DeFi is booming right now. There was a 20% rise in all total value locked on chain recently. So DeFi is coming to the chain. There's a lot of interest in that part of the network. And there's also decentralized autonomous organizations, DAOs. ADAO is leading the charge. They have what's called Summon Platform, lets you do multi-sig transactions. So basically, if we have like 5 people signing a single transaction to approve it, instead of one individual kind of leading the charge, makes it more decentralized. And you can check out the entire ecosystem on CardanoCube.io. Everything is there. This is just a small sample. A lot of the things that we like to use on a day-to-day basis. Now, Ouroboros, this is where it gets a little bit technical, but not too much. At the heart of Ouroboros is the concept of infinity. So this is a very ancient symbol. In the Norse mythology, the snake that surrounds the world, right, it basically supports the entire world tree at the middle of existence. It's the snake that Thor at some point, this is my thought, sorry, go ahead, baby girl. It's the snake that at some point gets destroyed by Thor and destroys the world. But it's a symbol of rebirth. It's a symbol of infinity. It just kind of showcases what Cardano is here to do, which is persist long term. The protocol is guaranteed to be secure as long as there's a 51% stake on the network. The way that it guarantees that is by incentivizing good behavior, not really hurting. There's no slashing. There's no de-incentivizing bad behavior. It really just focuses on the positives. As a stake pool, we mint blocks for the network. And basically what that means is we batch transactions in epochs is what they're called. They're 5-day epochs. All the slots are batched together. There's about 432,000 slots that are available. And when we get selected, basically it's like picking a basketball team. I like to compare it to that. So when you have a set of players that are available for you to choose from, you're more than likely going to pick the fastest, the strongest, the smartest off the bat. And then everybody else gets a turn as well, right? It's a fair system. So we, as a very small stake pool, don't get selected very often. But when we do get selected, we mint blocks for the network. And so, like I said at the very beginning, we've minted 12, 2022. We got our first one in 2023. So we're at 13 total for now. Instead of relying on computational power, this is where Cardano sets itself apart from Bitcoin, which uses what's called the proof of work protocol, right? So instead of using all that computational power, it relies on its stake pools. So we are one of those stake pools, and there's, like I said, 3,188 others available. Not all of them are minting blocks. The block minting requires delegation. So this is why we're having all of you create wallets, set up your wallets with our own stake pool so that we can grow and strengthen the network. None of it is custodial, so we'll get into that in just a minute. But basically, we become slot leaders when we're chosen. So I'm going to pick you to mint the block. And then someone else over there will mint the next one. And then someone else over there will mint the next one. And it's a random selection. That's kind of how it keeps it fair. This is the Ouroboros process. Now, we get to how you can view the transactions on Cardano Scan. So there are tools developed that can show you how the ecosystem works. All of the transactions, again, are available for viewing because it's all public. It's on blockchain. So again, everything is open source. You can see it all. Stake pools and delegators. Here we have a relay setup, a visual of what it is that we're doing in essence. So this is the block producing node that adds blocks to the chain. This is the network in itself that's made up of a bunch of different relays, a bunch of different stake pools, a bunch of different delegators, and they're all adding blocks to the chain. It's an immutable chain. It can't be altered once the blocks are added. We validate the network, which means we mint blocks. Again, we're selected based on stake. The way that Cardano makes sure that it remains decentralized, this is a big one, is there's a saturation cap. So even if every single person in here decided to delegate to DRMZ and completely saturate our pool, which means you fill it all the way to the top, 68 million is the cap. At that point, if we went over that cap, we would start receiving less rewards, which nobody wants, right? So what's the idea? You would have to delegate to a different stake pool. Other people set up a second stake pool, which would require 68 million more delegation. But we advocate for you delegating to a different pool. We have one pool that we run. There are, again, 3,100 that you can delegate to. There's pools represented here as well. When Drew comes up, you'll see his hat and his shirt. He's got the goats on there. They have a stake pool themselves. We're very familiar with people on Twitter who have their own pools. I believe Sushi Pool has their own pool as well. Shout out to Nicole, yes, and Denver, who have joined us from very far away. The SPO pledge and the fees also factor in the rewards that you get. The 340 ADA is the fixed cost. So basically, every time that we mint a block, that's what goes to our reward wallet. 340 ADA for minting a block. And we minted 12 blocks. So you can do the math on that, right? And those rewards go to the stake pool operators for running the pool. It's our reward for doing the work, and we have a 1% fee ourselves that then we use to, contribute to events like this one, right? Where you can have some free drinks, you can mingle with crypto fans, you can get some free NFTs. That's what we're doing with our 1% that we take off the top. The rest of it gets distributed to all delegators. So it's about 4 to 5% APY from the network. Now, the benefits of delegating to you are important. These are the two biggest things that drew us to Cardano. It's non-custodial liquid staking. So what does that mean? Well, other protocols, you have to lock up your funds. They have to be stored away for a determined amount of time. On Cardano, they're always liquid. So from the moment you delegate, if you want to go buy an NFT with that same ADA that you delegated to the pool, you can do that. The wallet will be delegated. It will be part of the network. It will be contributing to the metrics, but you can use that ADA. It's not locked up. It's available for use. It's liquid. There's also, like I said, no slashing, which is a big thing that kept me away from Ethereum. It was the slashing, the 35 ETH that has to be locked up for a term, a little bit too high for my taste. So I went with Cardano because it was more user-friendly, very easy to kind of be a part of the network. Passive income is nice. Like I said, you get about 4 to 5% APY based on what you delegate to the pool. And you can participate in Cardano's governance as well. I mean, holding onto the token makes you a voter in the network. I mentioned Voltaire a moment ago. We're in the age of Voltaire. Voltaire was huge in terms of government, right? Politics, really ethical politics. So the techno-moral values, again, ring true with Voltaire. This will give you an idea of how long it takes to get your rewards. So a lot of you who just delegated, you're up there. Epoch 1, right? So you just joined the pool. So even if we minted a block tomorrow, you wouldn't qualify for rewards just yet. It takes about 3 cycles. So 15 days, 3 epochs before you start receiving rewards. But the snapshot system that Cardano has ensures that you're getting fair rewards over time. You're getting that 4 to 5% over time. It doesn't really go higher or lower if you mint more blocks. It always averages out to about 4 to 5%. So it's stable. It's a nice amount that you receive based on what you delegate. This is one of my favorite quotes from Carl Jung, which is part of the reason that we named our pool Dream Stake Pool. Who looks outside dreams and who looks inside awakes? And so we're big fans of this philosophical idea. This is basically our big first presentation with Crypto Headz, and we're glad to be here. My slides are basically over at this point, so I'm going to tag in Drew. But if you have any questions about the base protocol level, please feel free to ask, and I'm going to hand it over. So, there we go.